Welcome to the Week 2 edition of the Chop and Birds Weekly NFL Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Pork Chop, but I'm flying solo today. Chris has got some personal stuff he's got to deal with, and sometimes you just got to put family first, and that is totally okay. So Chris will not be here, and you just get me, which, I mean, could be a blessing, could be a curse. It just depends on who's listening. But anyway, so Chris sent me some notes on his opinions on some of the topics that we were going to discuss in this video. And on top of that, I'm also going to put my feedback and everything and input and everything. So we're going to introduce some new features in this. And we're also going to obviously do the picks at the very end. And Chris did send me his picks beforehand. So I honestly could have cheated, but I didn't really pay attention to the picks. I saw what he picked tonight, which, tonight's Thursday night game was a hell of a lot less interesting than last Thursday night. Let's be honest. It's like that scene in the first Spider-Man where he's like, $100. The ad said $3,000. And so last week you got the $3,000 game, and this week you get the $100 game. So that's kind of my input on that. But Chris wanted to inform you guys that me, Chris, and Michael are all tied for first place, and my wife is actually one game back. It is a three-way tie, and then my wife is one game back, which, I mean, that's easily something that she can catch up on, and something that, 1 week she's probably going to go 15-2 or 15 or whatever. I wouldn't doubt it at all. like a 15-1 run is what I was trying to say. There are 32 teams divided by 2. Let's do your Steve from Blue's Clues math, kids. But anyway, so one of the first topics Chris and I were going to talk about was panic, don't panic. So I made a list of teams that I think should be panicking, and it seems like, according to Chris's notes, that he also agrees with the exact same teams that I do. So we're going to go and do Chris's first. So teams that need to panic, according to Chris Big Bird.
Don't panic! Don't panic!
Damn, Titans couldn't do shit. I already miss our old offensive coordinator. Which I'm going to echo that sentiment right there as well. The Titans looked terrible last week, absolutely atrocious last week. They only scored 13. It was some ridiculous amount of points, especially when you have somebody like Derrick Henry and you guys have a good wide receiver core, and of course, Tannehill. Like we were just talking before, that Tannehill gets overshadowed a lot because it just seems like that he's, not flashy enough to get into that category of like the top 5, top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and so it kind of doesn't look good on him, especially when people are saying like Tannehill deserves like the MVP or the Titans deserve to win the division or something like that, which is kind of like whatever. This is also actually, you know what? I think we actually agree on every single one of them. Kind of, it's like a 2.5 out of 3 for me. But the next team Chris said was the Green Bay Packers, which, oh yeah. He said the Green Bay Packers definitely need to panic. Some of the passes from Aaron looked a little sus. Good thing they play in a terrible division, which once again, I'm going to echo, because I was also going to put the Green Bay Packers on my list because they only scored 3 points. When you have Aaron Rodgers, you have Aaron Jones, and you have Devontae Adams at the helm, you can't muster 1 touchdown in 4 quarters. Then that's where you start running into issues for sure because, wow, that's incredible. You have the 3-headed monster right there, and you can't do anything about it. Woo-wee. This is the part where Chris and I are kind of, obviously, I'm a little bit of a homer, but he said the Cowboys also need to panic because the biggest news coming out of practice this week was DeMarcus Lawrence broke his foot, and he will be out 6 to 8 weeks, which the good news is he will be back for the game against Kansas City. So if there's any game for him that he needs to come back, that's definitely the game for the season because we don't really see any. I guess we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we'll talk. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and talk about that a little bit later. Cowboys, yeah, I can see them probably need to panic a little bit. The one team that I think in that division that needs to panic is the Washington football team. They did lose Fitzmagic, the beard, to an injury, a hip injury that's going to keep him out. I think they said 3 to 4 months even. So that might be almost the entirety of the season, or a big, big, big chunk of it, half of it, or a chunk of it. So that is the team in the division I think that needs to panic. The Cowboys have plenty of depth. I heard about Micah Parsons maybe moving over to D-Law's spot. I mean, he's just that talented and he's just that athletic that he can do that. But so if I had to pick a team in the NFC East, it would probably be the Washington football team. So those are the three teams. We agreed on two of them. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The don't panic. This is why I said we kind of agree.
What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down!
Chris said Cowboys. Congratulations, you made both lists. Which, yeah, they really, I don't know about Chris's thought process in that. They panic, but they don't need to panic. It's kind of like, well, which one is it? Okay, then what? Congratulations, you made both lists. Good news here is that Dak looks good, and you almost beat the champs, which we did. And it's something that I really wanted us to do. I really wanted us to beat the defending Super Bowl champs on ring night, and actually it wasn't on ring night, I don't think. It was on the banner night. It was them dropping the championship banner. He said, never give Brady any time. Come on, man, which I really agree with. Minute and a half left in the game. I said that's way too much for Tom Brady. He's going to go down in a minute 23, a minute 25, and he's just going to crucify us, which he ended up doing. Chris also said the Brownies, they should have beat the Chiefs. They were the better team that day, fuckheads, which, I mean, they actually were. They had Kansas City on the run for the longest time, and then at the very end there, Baker Mayfield throws the game decision interception, which, I mean, that's going to happen. You're under pressure. You're going to throw some air balls that shouldn't be thrown, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. But he says don't panic, which I kind of agree with. I think the Browns are still going to win that division. He said Ravens don't panic. You have Michael Vick 2.0. And if he goes down, you have Michael Vick 3.0 because Hundley, I can't remember his name specifically, but he is pretty much a carbon copy of Lamar Jackson. Oh, show. All right, this is a new segment that is kind of inspired by one of my piglets, Michael.
What the fuck happened?
So Chris said, I'll tell you what the fuck happened. It's week 1, and that's always a weird week. Let's not forget the Bucs lost week 1 last year, and they did okay for that year, which they did. They won the Super Bowl as a wild card, which is still immaculate. I'm going to say, what the fuck happened to Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers? I kind of talked about it earlier, but you have Aaron Rodgers, the three-headed monster, like I was saying. You have those main three. You got the three wise men of the team right there. And you squander it, and you do nothing but kick a field goal, and the other team kicks a field goal. Yeah, the other team kicked a lot of field goals. The other team scored over 30-plus points, which, wow. The Green Bay Packers, what the fuck happened? So this next one, Chris and I are going to each recommend a player for you to go pick up in the waiver wire or maybe make a trade for in your fantasy football team if you have one. Chris's suggestion is to go get Tyson Williams, the running back for Baltimore. He's a solid flex pick, and he scored 18.4 points last week on the bench, of course. And he was bragging because he still beat his sister by 50 and that he's in first place for now in our other league that Chris and I do. I'm going to tell you guys to go pick up Elijah Mitchell from the 49ers. He's also a running back. The biggest component for him is that Raheem Mostert is out for the season, technically. He is gone for the season. And for some reason, Trey Sermon was a healthy scratch. And there's one other guy, Hastings, I think. Hasty is what his last name is. And then Elijah Mitchell looked like one of the bright spots of the running backs. Now, the only problem with y'all picking up Mitchell is that the maybe, the question mark, the unknown, the gray area is something that could be very, very detrimental. But, you know, maybe you'll win your week by 1,000 points if you pick up this guy, or pick up Chris's guy, Williams from Baltimore. So this is the part where Chris and I were each going to talk about our teams, a little bit of a recap. So Chris's was first, and he said, let's not remember these Titans. Get it? You get it? You know how I said that we had a better cornerback this year? Well, that was clearly a lie, seeing as we let the Make-A-Wish kid Kyler Murray do whatever he wanted. He just called Kyler Murray a Make-A-Wish kid. Holy shit. Derrick Henry couldn't do anything. Tannehill looked like he thought he was back in Miami. They gave up 6 sacks, 5 to Chandler Jones himself, which they did. That was wow. Jones and Ryan are clearly not on the same page or reading the same playbook for that matter. So, yeah, for sure. The Titans, I definitely thought, obviously, Chris and I picked both of them to win the division for this season. If they're not careful, as of right now, the Houston Texans are winning that division. And that kind of pains me to say that, but I don't think it's going to last. But, I mean, of course, it's week 1. And you lose, whatever. Week 2, you lose again, it's whatever. You really need to start paying attention to the win-loss column when October hits. First 4 weeks is kind of, in like boxing, it's like the two fighters, like, feeling each other out, like, trying to see, like, oh, well, over here's a weakness, I can exploit that. Oh, over here is where I probably need to fuck off and not do anything. That's something that I definitely recommend is don't worry about your team until October. If they go 0-4 in September, yeah, it sucks. But you know what? Wait till October when the goods start happening. And that's also Bill Belichick's sentiment, which I kind of agree with. And I honestly think that that's totally something that every team should adopt as a philosophy. And so, yeah, the Titans look terrible. Hopefully this is something that Derrick Henry can bounce back from, as well as Tannehill. And maybe they can still win the division, hopefully. Now, then this part where we talk about the Cowboys, I'm going to go ahead and go first. And Chris and I might actually echo, once again, the same sentiment. The Cowboys look good, guys. They looked great against the defending champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the TB12 Buccaneers. And in all honesty, we had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. You know how they say opportunity knocks, open that door and say, welcome in, you son of a bitch? The Cowboys just let him sit out there. And that was something that was just crucial for us, and we ended up pissing it away. But regardless, Dak is probably going to be QB1 in fantasy if he continues this trajectory, if he continues to throw for 400 yards and pick up multiple touchdowns and even rush for, a dozen yards or whatever, maybe even get a rushing touchdown or 2 or 5 this season, who knows. But this is definitely something that we can put under a microscope because it is that minuscule, it is that small, and if it eventually becomes something big in October, like I said earlier, then that's when you should start panicking. That's when you should start really being like, okay, what's going on here? So Chris's was, well, the Cowboys didn't look too bad. Got to win a game in which your turnover battle is 4-1. Garbage. Also, Zeke is garbage as well. 33 yards. Come on, man. I actually did find out that there were at least 25 run plays that I think Dak audibled out of 12 of those. So about half of those, Dak read the defense and said, no, we're not running, we're going to pass here. And it was probably for the better because Amari Cooper was open most of the day, as well as Gallup before he got hurt. Hopefully we'll have him back here within a few weeks. And then also, of course, CeeDee Lamb, who's projected to be the wide receiver 1 by the end of the season, I think is still going to be a big component for the team. And then he said, come on, man, Coop looks good. Defense wasn't bad minus the last minute. Yeah, the last minute's terrible. And then here's where Chris and I are going to fight. And he talks shit because he's at afar. He's afar, so he's going to talk shit. He said, and Colin, don't give me this pass interference nonsense. Didn't cost y'all the game. Y'all had plenty of chances. Maybe have CD not put butter on his gloves. Butter causes Butter causes tipped balls and causes interceptions. Y'all don't play a playoff team from last year until week 11, so you'll be fine. And that's something that I was going to say, but I forgot, was definitely we don't play a playoff team until week 11 when we play the Chiefs. So what's the problem? Like, I mean, honestly, this is something that the Cowboys should win a lot of games going forward. Maybe about this week. But anyway, the nonsense, right, the pass interference nonsense, the past 2 week ones, the Cowboys have been screwed over with pass interference. Last year, it was Jalen Ramsey with the LeBron James flop of the century on Michael Gallup. And then this year, it was Godwin that pushed off on us, and they didn't get the call. And, of course, all week long I've been hearing about, oh, well, it's Tampa Bay. It's Tom Brady. Do you think they're really going to call a pass interference on the offense? No, because then Tom will get mad at us. And I kind of agree with that. But if you do go back and look at history, the Cowboys do not get those calls very often. They're going their way anyway. And that's something that could definitely just be... CeeDee Lamb did drop a lot of balls. That interception that happened, Dak did throw into triple coverage, but CeeDee Lamb should have caught that. That went straight in the breadbasket. That is something that you need to catch, especially if you're an NFL caliber wide receiver. You don't need to be doing that shit. And if you hear my dogs in the background, sorry guys. Mama just left, so now they're freaking out. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine. The Cowboys don't play a playoff team until later. Totally fine. So Chris is not here to answer my question, but we are going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up the picks here. And I'll just go ahead and ask my damn self, who you got? Okay, so this week is definitely a week that is the Thursday night game. Again, you get the $3,000, the $3,000 fighting Bonesaw, and you get a cage match, and you get the big bucks if you beat Bonesaw, and then you beat them, and then you realize, oh, they only gave me $100. So we got the Washington football team going against the New York Giants, the Gigantes. So the Giants at the football team. I'm going to pick the football team. Chris is picking the football team as well. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Chicago Bears. I'm going to pick the Bengals, and Chris is also picking the Bengals. The Houston Texans, who were the surprise of Week 1, going against the Cleveland Browns. I'm picking the Brownies. Chris is also picking the Brownies. But again, they're one of our teams that don't need to panic. If you beat the Texans, you're doing what you're supposed to. But if you lose to the Texans, then you might need to start panicking. The LA Rams at the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Rams. Chris is also picking the Rams. The Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. The Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins. Chris is picking Buffalo. I'm picking Buffalo as well. The New England Patriots at the New York Jets. You got to go Patriots here, and Chris is also going the Patriots. The San Francisco 49ers at the Philadelphia Eagles. The 49ers, Chris is going with. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Eagles. They looked pretty good last week, I hate to say, but hopefully that was a one-time thing, but I'm going to go ahead and pick the Eagles just to spice it up a little bit. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chris is going with the Raiders, and so was I. Wow, that was going to be my surprise pick. But Chris is also sharing the same thing. The New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers. Going to go with the Saints. Jameis Winston looked amazing last year. You get the LASIK surgery. I even said on Facebook, I said Jameis Winston is the Ricky Vaughn of the NFL. Changed my mind because Ricky Vaughn put on the glasses and he could throw pitches like nobody's business. The New Orleans Saints told Jameis to get LASIK surgery. He did, and he can throw touchdown passes like nobody's business. You guess it. The Denver Broncos at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, sorry. Chris also picked the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to pick Denver. Chris is also picking Denver. The Minnesota Vikings versus the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going with the home team on this one. And Chris is also going with the Cardinals. The Minnesota Vikings lost to the Bengals. That could be very, very, very scary, just to say the least. The Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not even going to question this one. Atlanta looked terrible last week, just like the Packers, and hopefully the Packers don't have the same outlook as the Falcons do. But regardless. The 3:25 game, my Dallas Cowboys at the LA Chargers. We're actually going to go into that SoFi Stadium with fans this time. I'm picking America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, and Chris is also picking the Cowboys. Wow. Chris really surprised me this week. I wish I could give him a hug for these picks, because some of them, I'm like, oh, Chris is not going to. Oh, we did go. Okay, cool. The Tennessee Titans at the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. Chris is going to go with the Titans. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. Chiefs all day long. The Ravens have a lot of things to work out. Lamar Jackson and that run game is something that is really just, how do you lose your entire running back core in like 1 week after the other? That is just crazy. So that's your Sunday night matchups, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. And then Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go with Detroit. I'm just kidding. I'm going with the Packers. And Chris is also going with the Packers. Chris also picked the Kansas City Chiefs. So there you go. Those are the picks for the week. Those are the topics for the week. We'll be back definitely next week with the What the Fuck Happened. And also, we're probably going to bring back the Panic, Don't Panic. Maybe we can double down on some of these teams, or we can add some new people to it. Who knows? But anyway, guys, thank y'all so much once again for dropping by. You guys are incredible. You guys are awesome. I really love you guys to death. Oh, also, real quick, Chris had a toss-up, which was the Cowboys at the Chargers, but he ended up picking the Cowboys. And his shit show of the week was the New York Giants at the Washington football team. So that's what you get started with this week. Yay! All right, guys. Thank y'all so much once again for dropping by. Hope you guys enjoy everything. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the weather, whatever it is you enjoy. I hope that you continue to enjoy it. Always remember, Colin Port Shop loves y'all the mostest, and Chris will be here to tell you to make good choices. And I would say, especially in the goddamn pick'em. Speaking of Bonesaw earlier, that really sounded like, oh yeah! Bye, guys!